The planned removal of subsidy on fuel has pushed organized labor against the federal government. To this end, the Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, has begun mobilization for protest rallies across the country against the planned removal and hike in pump price of petrol, with commencement date set for 27th of January. Meanwhile, former head of state, retired General Abdulsalami Abubakar, has warned against increase in pump price of petrol. General Abdulsalam Abubakar said Nigerians can't afford 302 naira per litre of petrol. MJ, let me start from you. This thing just came, although it has been denied, but yesterday the speculation was all over 302. But ultimately, if the federal government still goes ahead to remove subsidy, we're just talking about, you know, something relative. It will still get to this. That is if the federal government...
No, it's unfortunate that we still have to be discussing this removal of a subsidy. If any government is thinking of removing any subsidy, even with the level of inflation and level of hardship in this country, then it will be so ungodly, so sinful, so inhumane. I mean, I don't know what other adjective to use. I mean, we don't need an Abdulsalami to caution us that we should leave it as it is, or that government. Okay, what would we be benefiting from the government if at 162 naira per litre you can see the cost of transportation, the cost of rent, housing, everything has skyrocketed. If you add just 10 naira, don't even let us go to the 302. That's almost 100% increment. Who is thinking of that? Fine, we are not saying you should not deregulate, but petroleum is so critical to the existence of all our existence in Nigeria that, I mean, we can't even afford to joke about talking of any increment for now. Yeah, we say oil is inching close to 85 naira per barrel, the crude oil. But we can use part of the savings to benchmark, to subsidize the product, the refined products. In the first instance, it is because we lack a maintenance culture. That is why our refineries are not working. If we are refining, locally, yeah, if we are refining locally, what other countries that has crude oil, what they do is to do an exchange. You give crude oil in exchange for the refined products. By that, you now subsidize the product for the consumption of your citizenry, so that by the OPEC gives you a particular band that you can produce, that you can sell in the international market. But I mean, they are not saying you should not use a particular quantity for local refinery. But because our refineries are not working, now we keep importing, and some people are benefiting from it. And now some characters are telling us that we consume up to 1 million barrels, 1 million liters of crude oil per day.
100,000 liters.
100,000 liters.
102 million liters.
Million liters. We don't even know how many liters we consume. At a point about 2 years ago, it was just 40 million. How did it suddenly jump? How did we suddenly jump from 40 million to 102 million barrels?
The catch-22 situation here is that a lot of people agree that, look, we should do away with this subsidy.
Yes.
And it has been there since when? Now, at the same time, a lot of people don't agree with the increment in prices because I don't know if we are to do away with subsidy, it will increase. It will definitely not. It will affect everything in our life.
No, of course. It's a choice that we have to make. If you look at how much we spend subsidizing, according to us, petrol, you will not want the subsidy regime to continue, because that money can actually go into providing tremendous infrastructure for us as a nation. You can't be spending that kind of money on subsidy, and we know that a lot of it, there's no transparency in a lot of, you know, you saw I've always said that it is not possible for us to consume up to 102 million liters a day. Now we saw the Senate president saying yesterday that he does not believe that we consume that much. So maybe people will call Ahmad Lawan a whaler now, because once you say the truth, the default mode of the ill-bred person is to call you a whaler. So maybe the Senate president is a whaler.
You know? Mr. Femi Adesina.
Yes. You know, and he is himself a whaler.
So let's just let's show the mobilization of the Nigerian Labour Congress here.
Ahead of the mass protest scheduled to hold on January 27, 2022, we can say that preparations are in top gear as the Nigerian Labour Congress and the civil society organizations are in a closed-door meeting here in Lagos, Nigeria. From observation, the national president of the Nigerian Labour Congress is actually attending a meeting and addressing workers. And from the look of things, we can say that mobilization has commenced, and it will take place. The protest will take place across all the states except the FCT.
They have made pronouncement clearly that by February there will be a hike in the price of PMS. I think the National Economic Council proposed about 302 naira, and the Minister of Finance came also openly to make pronouncement about the policy. And therefore we are saying that we reject that policy, because it's going to inflict more hardship on Nigerians, particularly those on fixed wages and even those in the informal sector.
NSC said the action is actually intended to halt the intended hike in price of petrol. So this is a caution action. You may call it warning, but it's a protest that is actually geared in stopping government from taking undue policy action against Nigerians.
We're not doing mass protests for looking for solidarity on something that is impacting some other people. Then you can be called a busybody. It's an action we're doing for ourselves.
This is just a warning protest. But if the government fails and the government, have to go ahead and implement this wicked policy then we will mobilize Nigerians, we will mobilize everybody, and then it's going to be a total shutdown until the government referred back to the old order.
Recently, the president of the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria says is not against the removal of fuel subsidy if it's going to yield positive results. TUC is a counterpart of the Nigerian Labour Congress, but according to reports, there is a National Executive Council meeting which will be held very soon, and that will determine the next line of action. Sharon Ijason, TVC News.
Difficult situation.
See, yes. we are spending $1.5 billion on, $1.69 billion on the turnaround maintenance of refineries, and they say it will take 44 months. Now, how much does a brand new refinery cost? I mean, we don't need a gigantic refinery like that again. And that refinery is like you trying to remodel a 1970 Peugeot. Honestly, that thing should be left alone, and we think of a new one.
Trying to turn a ladder into a Ferrari.
Honestly, yeah, a ladder or a Volkswagen Passat, a 1984 Volkswagen Passat. You want to turn it to Camry 2022 model. You burst the engine. so that's what they are attempting to do with that refinery.
And the refineries have refused to produce anything.
I'll keep paying people.
Some years back, the Kaduna refinery, that is supposed to be one of our most modern, produced only 50 million liters of petrol it refined only 50 million liters in a whole year.
That is
not
even
even
enough
for
one day.
Consumption in a day.
Yes.
by their
calculation.
calculation that a lot of us disagree with. That means all that they did for a whole year, and people take salaries in those places. Collecting salaries, extortionate salaries.
Yeah.
Extortionate. My word. My emphasis. Extortionate. The kind of salaries that people in other sectors
because they
not earn.
They have a specialized salary for the export.
If Nigeria was a private enterprise, will it be run in this manner?
Honest.
Won't people run it in a way that is profitable? Will people agree to carry dead weights if it was a private enterprise? Because we are just subsidizing. We are spending money on dead woods.
Honestly,
Things that will yield nothing at the end of it. In the last 5 years, what have we gained from those refineries? And we continue to pump money into those refineries. At the time when they were going to buy them, when Dangote and others wanted to buy them, we use emotions. We use emotions to stop the sale.
Honestly.
So what have we gained now? Unit petrol at that time, they wanted to buy. We use emotions to stop.
Okay, I have Ruben from Lagos. Thank you for joining us, Ruben.
Hello, sir.
Yes, Ruben, go ahead.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Ruben.
Yeah, I really want to speak to Mr. Babajide.
Okay, Jide is here.
Good evening, Mr. Babajide.
Good evening, my man.
Yes, good evening, sir. Yeah, I'm calling from Ikorodu, Ajegule.
Oh, okay, that's right.
Yes, and I really want to talk to Mr. Babajide because this fuel subsidy issue, I think we are being sabotaged.
By who?
Hello? Is Ruben still there?
It's gone.
Yes.
Please
Who
continue.
is sabotaging
Mr.
us?
Babajide,
Huh?
please, I want you to exercise that effort you put in the area of fighting terrorism in the East.
He's picking his words. He's listening to himself.
Okay, Ruben.
Can you hear me?
Just
from what I can pick.
Just
Ruben
round
is-
up quickly. Round up. We don't have all the
Okay,
time.
okay. Yeah, that effort you put in fighting about terrorism in the East, can you a fight and journalistic investigate into this fuel matter?
Okay.
Okay.
I get you.
Please, sir.
I get you. You know, that industry, there's a lot of falsehood going on in that industry. In 2016, when we were having fuel scarcity, a lot of Nigerians have forgotten that we once had fuel scarcity around 2017, 2016.
Yeah.
They do not forget. They've clearly forgotten.
We
were not being told the truth until the Senate organized something like a town hall meeting where all stakeholders in the industry now came to talk face to face. It was at that point that the marketers now said, okay, all of these things that you are denying, you don't want the world to know that there is a decline in the quantum of petrol that you supply into the Nigerian market. From your schedule, supply tapered down from so month to so month.
Yeah.
That was the period of the scarcity. But they were lying to us that, oh, Nigerians were the ones holding petroleum
and diverting.
I conducted research, went to some of those
tank farms
and discovered that some of them did not even have supply. We are in a nation where people prefer to lie to the rest of us, and they will find willing and able people to magnify their lies. This is what we are facing.
We are not sincere.
It is not in that sector. There is a lot of deceit. And I'm happy that someone of the stature of the Senate President has already said, look, I've said that thing repeatedly. Now the Senate President has also said the same thing.
It's not possible.
The only way it's possible is if there has been a tremendous quantum of prosperity between the Jonathan years and now. Because I know that towards the end of the Jonathan regime, it was hovering between 27 million to 30 million.
30.
So suddenly we are now on 102.
At a point it got to about 40 million.
So now we are being told that
the
rate at which people were buying cars at that time has
even more than doubled.
Tripled.
Yeah, almost tripled. Yeah.
That can be investigation at the level of licensing office.
Honestly.
I mean, this kind of things, they are easy to prove.
Very easy to prove.
At the end of the day, General Abdulsalam is saying that, look, this is not, we can't just afford to go on strike, and Nigerians cannot afford this 302 naira per litre. Just imagine what it's to public transport. My brothers from the east, when they went to their hometown, and some were saying that to get to Onitsha, as much as 15,000 naira, 20,000 naira.
See, the issue is we need an audit of what is going on in that industry. I mean, a forensic audit to at least for us to know how many liters of fuel that we consume on a daily basis. Not just for them to be throwing figures.
Nobody will ask questions.
Yes.
And
these things are easy to do.
Smuggling activities, contribute to this.
What is the volume that is being smuggled? What is the volume?
Okay, go to Niger. What is even the per capita, the GDP of Niger Republic?
Niger is even
all of the cars that they have.
It's not up to the vehicles we have in Lagos.
Oh, Lagos is too much. All of the cars that they have in Niger Republic, people in Kano have more than that.
Oh.
So where do these things go to?
Where is the 102 million going to?
What should you do now? Should you tell the Labour not to go on strike?
Well,
or
if there's any,
not to remove to increase
it's difficult. I've asked myself.
Most of these subsidy money to go into some private pockets.
Yes, for the fact that this subsidy money is just being stolen, I do not want the subsidy regime to continue. But at the same time, you ask yourself, if this thing goes to, now petrol, crude oil is now approaching 85, which is the highest since like 2014.
Yeah.
So the higher it is in the international market, the more you pay for it here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it could even, when people talk about 300, it could even be 400.
Yeah.
It's a possibility.
400 naira per liter.
Yes, it depends on the price over there. So the question I'm asking myself is, if it gets to that point, can Nigerians cope? People are already struggling.
Even at 162, 165.
Even local food that we produce, and we beat our chest about, they are very expensive.
Yeah.
Jide, I eat Orobo a lot, bitter cola. Now, what I used to buy for 2,500 naira is now 20,000, and I was wondering.
Bitter cola.
Bitter cola, yes.
Of what is?
I said,
are they
using crude oil to grow it or what?
From
2,500 has gone up.
4 liters, 20K.